One person I did want to discuss in greater detail was Keith Kahn-Harris. He's been mentioned in a few videos before. I mentioned Do You Think? I did the Ridley Road analysis. He's connected to all these people, Riley, Oberman, Baddiel, that little group, and also to Judas, Joseph Finlay. And I used the Joseph Finlay's Do You Think article, the review, as sort of a basis for mine. There was a lot more agreement when I reread it than I actually said in the video. So he's a sort of a linking thread to all of these people in the Corbyn thing, and other things. I did want it because he's the most interesting character. I did say he's amiable. I think he's like a perfect representation of the modern world. I said in a previous video, I think it was the anti-Corbyn show, that early video post Riley, first about the follow-up to the now deleted Riley video, the infamous one. And I couldn't make out his politics. I can't really get a strong worldview to him. And so I think maybe he represents perfectly the modern world. He's a synecdoche of the zeitgeist. A synecdoche of the zeitgeist. Because he doesn't seem to believe in anything. I thought there's sort of a mushy liberalism or an anarchism because he's hanging around with the Judas people, whether they're real anarchists or not. Sort of halfway maybe. So I think he's a perfect representation of the modern world. He's a fairly smart fellow. He's not quite as smart as me. Some of his academic stuff is quite interesting. I wanted to do a separate video on one of them. But there doesn't seem to be anything there. And I said of Oberman and Baddiel and Riley, there was no real politics there before. Riley, I think, is sort of a Tory. Oberman may be a kind of a liberal. Baddiel is sort of an atheist, sort of a moderate maybe. I don't know. I've never quite been able to think, because Riley wasn't interested in politics. I've never seen anything until late 2018, when it's about September 2018, when she started in on the anti-Corbyn stuff. And she'd been to see Theresa May at number 10. And Oberman maybe is a kind of a liberal. Baddiel, I don't know. I've never been able to work it out. It's easy. Sometimes it's easy to work out what people believe. But Kahn-Harris, I don't think, believes in anything. There's sort of no real belief system. He wants he's happy with Keith Starmer. Sir Keith, Jimmy Savile's friend. There's a lot more to come out about that. Mayor. He's happy with Mayor. And that's very sort of slacker. He's a generation before that, Keith, but he's the Beck, a bit of a Beck there rather than metal. So I'm sort of a bit befuddled by Keith. He's quite an intelligent man, not quite as smart as me, but he has pretensions to be. A synecdoche of the zeitgeist. A man who believes in nothing. There's nothing there. It's hollow. It's a bit like in the Big Lebowski, the Germans, and the German nihilists. Maybe Keith could be best described as a nihilist. We believe nothing, Lebowski. Nothing. We believe in nothing. And that pretty much sums up a lot of these people. Oberman and Riley, they're just sort of rich celebrities. Badial is haute bourgeoisie, according to him, and very rich family. Um, yeah, I described that in detail in the anti-Corbyn show. But I think he's the most interesting person in that milieu. Keith, I think he's the perfect example. I think he's the link. He's the missing link. He links everything together, and I think it applies also to Riley and Oberman. All of these very bourgeois people. They're very nice homes, and they're very neat homes, and they're very comfortable bourgeois lives, burgess lives, to use the English version. And they didn't want maybe Corbyn getting his hands on even a small amount of their money, but that's not going to thing when the whole global economy starts crashing down. Their nice little homes with their little, the little very bourgeois lives. I've been looking at those on the internet, on Instagram. Very comfortable, cozy little bourgeois lives, cooking their nice little meals, and while everyone goes hungry. But this might be 1788 in Paris for them, unfortunately. And maybe a more brutal kind of socialist is emerging. Jean-Luc Mélenchon, the great man, he's a great man. He's not going to tolerate too much antagonism from various Zionist and Jewish elements trying to undermine him. He's not going to take a lot of stuff. If he gets maybe to the prime ministership and perhaps in future to the presidency, there might be a little bit of pushback on these kinds of people. It's a bit of a forlorn hope in Britain. The whole economy is going to come crashing down. The whole global economy is going to be mass fascism emerging in Europe, all over Europe. We've seen it in the East. I've seen Le Pen get close to 40% of the vote. Maybe Mélenchon can stop that. But there's not going to be any kowtowing to any Zionist movement under Mélenchon if he can get the top job in future. So the tide is turning on these people a little bit. This austerity that's been destroying people, mass murdering, eugenics, lockdowns, and other things. Things might be turning against them, and this sort of vacuous bourgeois life that all of these people, these anti-Corbyn people, are living, might be about to come to an abrupt end, and things might turn out a little bit nasty for them in the 2020s.